Welcome to Salesforce Training. Today we are talking about 3 cyber attacks that you should be aware of in Salesforce. Number 1, cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting is where an attacker can insert their own live code or instructions into a page that other people are using. It is actually one of the most serious and common attacks on web applications today. In Salesforce, all Visualforce components that start with the Apex tag have anti-cross-site scripting filters in place. In fact, by default, Visualforce tags actually escape cross-site scripting characters altogether. The thing to know here is that custom JavaScript and Apex include scripts are not protected from cross-site scripting. A common vulnerability is caused by re-rendering user input on a page. In this example, we have a simple form with a text input field. We then display the value of this text input straight on the page. The myTextField variable in this piece of code opens us up for cross-site scripting vulnerability. For example, say the user enters in this little piece of code here and then clicks Submit. In this case, the JavaScript that they've entered will execute, but for us, in our example, only a little alert box is going to appear. Just remember that more malicious attacks could always be used. There are a bunch of different methods that we can use to prevent this attack. These all encode the text that's submitted by the user so that it's not recognized by our software as a command to execute. Using these, we can just display whatever the user inputs as text on a page, even if it's meant to be malicious. Our second form of attack is cross-site request forgery. What is cross-site request forgery? Cross-site request forgery is where a user is tricked by an attacker into giving them information that they really should be keeping private. For example, say you log into a banking online system. The bank approves your request and gives you a validation token. You're all good. At this point, if a hacker steps in and pretends to be the bank and sends you some messages asking you to change your password, change your email address, or update some personal details, then you might think that it's the bank telling you this. If you go through with this and update this information, you're actually sending the hacker details that they can then use to take money from you, steal your identity, or worse. Within the Lightning platform, Sales has actually implemented an anti-cross-site request forgery token. This is a random string of characters that's hidden in a field on every page. Upon each new page load, Salesforce is checking if that random string of characters matches, and if it doesn't, then the page will not reload for us. This protects us when we're using standard controllers and methods. Other options that can help prevent this attack include inserting an intermediate confirmation page before we take action, shortening the session timeout log for an organization, and just educating our users to log out of their active sessions. Don't use your browser to visit other sites while you're still authenticated into this one. Our last attack is the SoQL injection. An SoQL injection is where an attacker will put in malicious SoQL requests into a user input field. This can do dramatic things if you're not protected, such as drop your entire database. To prevent SoQL injections, avoid using dynamic queries. Instead, stick to static and binding variables. If you must use dynamic SoQL, then make sure that you use the single escape quotes method. This is going to sanitize your user input for you. It simply adds an escape character to every quotation mark that the user inputs. That way, single quotation marks are treated as enclosing strings instead of a reason to execute a database command. So that's it on the 3 cyber attacks that you should be aware of in Salesforce. If that interests you, feel free to go and find out more about cybersecurity. It's a wonderful and exciting field, and I'd really encourage you to get involved as much as you can. See you guys next time.